On this older HP computer, I think it's an i5 and it's got 20 gigs of RAM. Got a 4 terabyte drive along with a 240 SSD boot up drive. I got this networked at the house. And on this, I'm running Wireguard VPN, and I'm also running a Bitcoin node. And right now I've got it set for a maximum of 10 connections. Before I had it unlimited, and it was doing about 45 or so connections, total about maybe 10 to 15 inbound, and the remaining being outbound, about 25 or so outbound. And it was taking up a lot of resources, so I thought I'd limit it to about 10 total connections. It looks like it's resolved to only going all outbound, no inbound. So this is supposed to secure the Bitcoin node, help secure all the Bitcoin transactions by being a peer-to-peer node. What's interesting is that if you have a Bitcoin wallet, that is a digital wallet or a hot wallet, you don't really connect to one of these nodes. You're usually going to connect to an Electrum, what they call an Electrum node. And if I want to run Electrum on this or become an Electrum node, I have to run another piece of software on top of this. You have to run an Electrum server on top of the regular Bitcoin core node, and then you can also service most Bitcoin wallets that are out there. The interesting thing is that most Bitcoin wallets don't connect directly to this kind of node. That is just a standard Bitcoin core node, but they connect to Electrum servers. And Electrum servers are a specific type of, it's another piece of software basically that runs on top of a Bitcoin node. And what it does is it extracts the data from a Bitcoin node and is better able to, and in a more quicker way, you can almost say it's a layer 2 on top of a Bitcoin node because it's another piece of software that runs on top of it. And it's better able to, and more quickly able to give data to wallets. And the ratio of a total number of Bitcoin nodes versus Electrum servers are maybe, I don't know, AI says maybe it's about 50 to 1. So for every 50 core nodes like I'm running, there might be one Electrum node that's running. So what's interesting is that if someone was able to take out all the Electrum nodes, then your wallet probably won't work. It won't be able to grab. It won't know how much Bitcoin you have in your wallet. So then you'd have to reprogram your wallet, either get a new wallet or reprogram your wallet to directly connect to a standard Bitcoin node, which from what I understand is a little more complicated, and it's a little slower, but not that much slower. So when I first learned about this, I was kind of curious why they set it up that way. Now, this is not even mining. Now, if you want to do mining, if you want to mine Bitcoin, you got to run another piece of software, something separate altogether. And that requires much faster computers. So there's like 3 different kinds of software that's available right now. If you want to be part of the Bitcoin system or framework, you can either be just a standard core node, like this piece of software, or you can also run Electrum on top of that, or also you can become a miner. But again, if you want to be a miner, you need to buy an expensive piece of hardware that runs NVIDIA graphics cards. And that's quite expensive. And unless you have very cheap electricity, it's not even worth doing. Now, something else you could also run is what they would call a lightning node. So, a lightning node is, something else altogether. A lightning node is another layer 2 on top of a Bitcoin node, or that runs on top of the Bitcoin framework. And Lightning is a much, much cheaper way of moving Bitcoin around. That's on top of Bitcoin. That's a lot less expensive to move Bitcoin. So on chain, what they call on chain, which is on the blockchain, if you want to move Bitcoin, let's say you want to send someone else Bitcoin on chain using the core or the base Bitcoin network, it could cost you between $2 to $5%, let's say, of what you're sending. Or let's say, or actually a more accurate thing to say is to say that it would cost you $2 to $5 per transaction. So in that sense, it's not really worth sending anything less than $100, because anything under $100 is costing you more than 2 to 5% per transaction. But if you were to do that on the Lightning network, which is a layer 2 on top of the Bitcoin network, it would be virtually free. But the only issue with that is that then you'd have to hold your Bitcoin on the Lightning network. So it's a completely different thing. It's almost like you can think of the Lightning network as being like a decentralized Coinbase. It's sort of like a decentralized, centralized exchange. So it's like a Coinbase, but it's decentralized. You can think of it that way. So for example, if you have Coinbase and you want to send Bitcoin to someone else who had a Coinbase account, it would basically be free. But if you want to send Bitcoin to someone outside the Coinbase network, let's say someone else who had an account with, let's say Kraken or Binance or Gemini, it will cost you, it would have to be on what they call on chain, meaning it would have to be written on the Bitcoin blockchain. But if you send money back and forth or send blockchain back and forth from someone who's on your same centralized exchange like Coinbase, it is what they would call off chain. It's off chain, meaning it's not being written. Your transaction or the movement of Bitcoin is not being written on the chain or literally on the base of Bitcoin or on the blockchain. All right, so that's kind of interesting. So again, if you have a Bitcoin cold wallet or a hot wallet, and that's not the same as having a wallet on a centralized exchange like Coinbase. It's a wallet off chain. It's an independent wallet. You know how people say not your key or not your Bitcoin? Well, if you have a cold wallet or a hot wallet or a digital wallet, then it's literally you have the keys to your Bitcoin.